silence alarm went off when one of the other studios, "Do you mind taking the next couple innings?" And I said, "Sure." I don't think I ever saw that guy again.
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars, Lose the Weight or Stop Smoking Guaranteed Early Bird Special, only $49.99. Seminars Sunday, January 26th at the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott Wichita Airport in Wichita. Weight loss seminar starts at 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 2 p.m.
Wichita State men's basketball hosts East Carolina January 18th. Visit the KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888. Traffic.
We have a traffic accident. This is eastbound on K96 and it's near Hillside. We also have a traffic slowdown on 21st, where we have a traffic accident on 21st near I-135. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS. I'm Jed Chambers.
JUCO wins basketball last night. Power plant in El Dorado.
There's nothing I have to do for streaming and stuff, right? So
of course, the guy is looking to bounce. Maybe he wasn't initially, but if you treat a guy like that long enough, and he feels underappreciated and disrespected, of course that guy's going to walk when other teams come banging on his door. Well played, Jera. And by well played, what I really mean is way to jack this up. I'm Jim Rome. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. The app is simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use my code ROME and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code ROME, R-O-M-E, on PrizePicks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, Winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester.
Hey there, happy Thursday to you, everybody. It is Sports Daily. We got a three-man booth running today. It is Jacob Albrecht, Tommy Castor, TJ Cleveland hopping in for us here on a Thursday, busy Thursday. We'll have our betting insider, PJ Glasser, on in just a little bit. He'll help us look to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs and to the college football national championship, which we've waited a very long time for, but we're there on Monday. So we'll get to all of that with PJ Glasser. Tim Fitzgerald, our K-State insider, also going to try to hop on here in the next hour. So looking forward to both of those conversations. Should be a lot of fun. Not maybe a lot of fun talking KU. How worried should we be? We'll dig into that as they fall big in Ames last night. How big was it really? We're all fueled up with our Prairie Fire coffee. We're all ready to get out there and suntan today and bask in that 40-degree, microwave outside. But here we go. Fellas, Tommy, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited about the fact that it's going to get a little bit warmer today and tomorrow before we go back in the deep freeze. Did you get your driveway all shoveled out?
No, I took the listener's advice and didn't take the hammer to it. I did try to take like a little, those little gardening rakes to more gently see if I could loosen anything up. No, did not. Didn't work. So now today I'm just hoping for some melting, and then we'll see if we can't get scooped up. Godspeed to all the delivery people trying to navigate our driveway and path for all the things my wife orders online. Those 6 things that come a day. It's just like you playing with lightning in a bottle. But we're trying. I'm trying to help you out, man. Just can't get it done. TJ, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, I'm definitely ready for the melt as well. We're at the point now where at the apartment, we got the gate code to get inside. You slide every time you put the gate code in. So we're waiting for somebody to take out the thing you put the numbers in. So hopefully that doesn't come and we can melt it away today.
It's a crazy one. I don't remember ever seeing this much ice. I'm not like I've got like 2 inches in spots on my driveway. That's just like the most ice I've probably seen in a storm, at least in a long time. But this is not a weather show. This is a sports show most of the time. And we had a big sporting event last night, because KU went to Ames, number 9 versus number 2. And for most of it, we had a pretty good game. It was a 10-point halftime deficit, which didn't like. Then they got it back within 5, as close as 4 minutes to go. A couple things don't go their way. And then, boom, they lose by 17 points to Iowa State. I think the game, to me, probably says more about Iowa State at the moment. KU, it's pretty easy, Tommy, to sit there and pick apart what they did wrong. They turned the ball over way too much, which was the death of them. They were out-rebounded, which I don't think was all that surprising that they would be out-rebounded in the game. But that kind of turnovers in that environment against that team, like you're not winning that game when you turn the ball over that way. To me, it's pretty simple breakdown, and that's it.
Yeah, they dug themselves a hole in the first half for sure, but they were able to get back and make it a game at a couple of different points in the second half, cutting the lead down to 6, I think, in 2 different occasions in the second half. And at one point, with about 5 minutes to go in the game, maybe a little bit less than 5 minutes, the Jayhawks cut the deficit down to 6, and it looked like they had the momentum. There were a couple of really crucial missed free throws from DeJuan Harris, and then from there, things kind of snowballed out of control. I think one of the major issues with this Jayhawks team, especially in the second half last night, was that the offense just got stagnant. The lineup got stagnant out on the court. There really wasn't a whole lot of Bill Self really trying to find new lineups to score that could really get the ball in the bucket. And that, I think was one of the main reasons, at least late in the game, that they weren't able to get all the way back.
I think, TJ, and I've been saying this for a long time, I think KU's really going to have a hard time when Hunter Dickinson's held in check like that. And a team like Iowa State is able to do that. Our KU insider, Shreyas Laddha, yesterday pointed out, like we all talk about Iowa State's offense. They have a top 10 defense this year too. Dickinson was a non-factor offensively. Never really was a big factor in the game, and KU really struggled offensively. Scored 57 points. He was 3 of 10 from the field. Never good when most of your shots come inside 5 feet that you go 3 of 10 from the field. That's going to be, I think, the biggest thing for we can micromanage all the lineups and all the different things that they do all season long. But if Dickinson does not go offensively, this team is going to struggle. And they have this year, and they'll continue to do it. I think they ride or die by Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah, you talk about micromanaging this lineup, and everybody does. We do it. Everybody does it on social media as well. And everybody talks about the trio of, KJ Adams, Hunter Dickinson, and DeJuan Harris. And we've seen them together so much the past 2 years that teams are starting to adapt to when they're on the court. They know what they have to do defensively because they know that's not going to be a perimeter lineup. They know that they want to feed it inside to Hunter. They want to get it inside to KJ and work inside the paint. And they frankly say, you guys can't shoot a ton of jump shots. We're just going to sit right here. And that clogs up the paint. That makes your big guy go 3 of 10 because he's basically getting double teamed in the paint every single time he touches the ball. So there definitely is. I think that, watching that game, I don't think that it's a player thing. I don't think it's a Bill Self thing. I think it's just a personnel and a fit thing, honestly. And it's kind of the reason that we've seen all of their losses so far this year. West Virginia went on the record after the game and said, we saw what, Creighton did. We saw what Mizzou did. And we basically just let KJ Adams shoot all he wanted in that game and put an extra guy in the paint. And it's what we saw last night against Iowa State. They packed that thing tight.
So why not change that? I mean, to that point, like if opponents know that what the strategy is to get the ball to Hunter Dickinson, to get the ball to KJ Adams, that Bill Self is going to ride those, main 3 core guys. And it's not working in a situation like in the second half against Iowa State and the offense is struggling and stagnant. I get the trust factor that Bill Self really leans on, but why not make that change? Why not make an adjustment to freshen things up and get a different look out there?
They're not going to have a choice. KJ Adams was hurt. I bet he'll miss time. He injured his shoulder. Because I don't think they have the right people. Who do at some point the change that they make has to generate offense too.
You don't think Flory Badunga and Rylan Griffin and like those guys that they brought in like at least could provide a little bit of a spark?
I love Flory Badunga and I wish he could. I think offensively it's going to take time for him. I think the biggest problem is the same problem they had last year. Now I'm more optimistic in Rylan Griffin and AJ Storr, AJ Storr was forcing it late in the game, but he was trying, and I honestly don't even hate that, right? Like, let's see if that guy can get some of that mojo back. I don't know that they have the pieces there to become an offensive juggernaut. Zeke Mayo took 19 shots last night, and honestly, I think that's their best shot right now. Like, I don't know where that other offense is going to come from because I don't think any of the players they brought in to do it are doing a good job of doing it. They're going to live and die by Hunter Dickinson. How do you get him freed up? That becomes, I think, the top priority. Like, what can they change to allow him one-on-ones down low? And teams that are really good defensively down there, they're going to see one pretty soon in Houston, I think are going to give Kansas a really, really hard time. Because if Dickinson doesn't go, I don't think Kansas has the shot makers to go just be that kind of team. I don't think they have it. We'll talk about it. What do they do next? That's our next topic here on Sports Daily. Keep it here. It's Albrecht, it's Castor, it's Cleveland. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
win some HTO, you can do it right now. Free iced tea, free coffee. You can win one of each by entering our giveaway. All you got to do to win is text the keyword tea, TEA, to the short code 20357. That's one free iced tea, one free iced or hot coffee drink. All you got to do is text the keyword tea, short code 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck, everybody. We're talking KU, Iowa State. Going through some of the post-game commentary last night. I think KU's pointing at an effort level as the reason they feel like they lost that game. I can subscribe to that. That was a tough spot. It was a tough environment. Iowa State, got the 50-50s. I think, I think on the broadcast they called them more like 80-20 balls for Iowa State. The players and Bill Self talked about that. Bill Self said it wasn't an effort thing. It was just, they were out executed on just about every level. And again, I can believe that. If KU and Iowa State played 10 times, KU might win, 4 of those games? I don't think anybody thinks that's crazy. Iowa State's really good, and they played at home, and that wasn't really a 17-point loss. It was within 5 points coming down the home stretch there. So all of that, like big picture, I don't think anything changed from what we're thinking about KU, or at least for me. Right before the break, we were talking about this. I don't think there is any way around or anything you can do to make this not be all about Hunter Dickinson offensively, and he wasn't good offensively last night. I don't think there's a change you can make philosophically to change the fact that this team must run through Hunter Dickinson, and then it's how do you aid Hunter Dickinson in being that player? I've been saying that, Tommy, for months. I just don't think there's anything else they're going to be able to do now that gives them a better chance than have Hunter Dickinson be one of the best players in the country.
Well, I think two things can be true at the same time. Number one, yes, Hunter Dickinson did not have a good game last night. And there were, some issues that he had that I'm sure that going back and watching film, he's going to kick himself about. A couple turnovers and, different things like that are uncharacteristically things that he doesn't usually do. So that's one thing that is true, yes. But I also think that the issues are larger than just Hunter Dickinson. It's that core three of him, DeJuan Harris, and KJ Adams that, TJ and I were talking about it off break, during break, that it is the safe option for Bill Self. And we all know, and I've mentioned this so many times on this show, that Bill Self values trust over talent all the time, every single day, every single year. That's what he does. I get it. I understand why. But at the same time, you were in a position late in the game when you absolutely needed a spark offensively. And those three guys were not delivering it, and they hadn't shown any signs that they were going to deliver that. Make a change, figure out something else. I understand that Flory Badunga is young and he's going to make some mistakes and things like that. And I hate even suggesting like you got to bench a potential All-American in Hunter Dickinson, but he wasn't getting the job done. Make a change, find a spark, do something else.
The Badunga issue is, I love Badunga. He had 4 fouls in 11 minutes last night. Like, that's his problem. He's a freshman. He can't stay on the floor. I think they would love to give him a role, TJ, where he gets out there and plays 20 minutes a game, but he's not consistently proving that he's able to do that. He fouls too much. He's a young big man. This happens all the time with young big men. But they couldn't get him on the floor anymore. He would have fouled out.
Yeah, I think that's a two-way street, though, as well. I think that Flory understands that I'm not going to play 20 minutes a game when I have Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams on my team. So I might as well go make the most of my 10 minutes that I'm going to put in there. And so I think that is a two-way street. I think that there's absolutely a possibility that you put him in a starting lineup and say, take it easy. We need you to play 30 minutes, dude. Like, don't try to block every shot in this game. I do agree. I don't want him to be less aggressive, but don't be, stupid and reckless like he sometimes plays. I think you can calm it down a bit. There's a difference in that. I
love him. I love him, but I don't think his offense is anywhere close to where it's good. Look at his stat line. You want to talk about a weird stat line? 4 blocks in 11 minutes, but also a bunch of turnovers and 4 fouls. Only 11 minutes. Like, they've got to be able to, and that's on him. Like, they have to be able to count on him more. To Tommy's point, late in the game, like, you've got to have the ability to put him out there. Everybody in the world knows what he brings. You don't have to watch much basketball to see, like, that guy's got a lot of potential and juice. But it's like a baby deer out there sometimes, especially against a team like Iowa State, who knows real well how to take advantage of an inexperienced player and to keep him off the floor because they want to do it. My thing, Tommy, is I don't like where do you provide that offensive spark? We know Zeke Mayo's not afraid to get in there and rip it, but that's not Shaq Moore's thing, right? That if it's not Griffin and if it's not Store, I don't know where it's going to be.
It's got to be those two guys. And you know what? Look, like the struggles with AJ Store have been well documented, but I don't know if you guys noticed this at all in the game last night. There was a period of time, and kind of a crucial stretch of the game, when Bill Self put in Diggy Coit over Rylan Griffin, and Coit was awful. Like, it was an awful, awful period of time. Like the some of those decisions are a little baffling to me. Like, what has Diggy Coit shown to you that he can deliver in those big game moments instead of a guy that I get? Rylan Griffin has been up and down this year. He's been better than AJ Store, but he's been up and down this year. But he's got experience. He knows how to play in big time moments and big time games. And why you're going to David Coit over Rylan Griffin, it was a head scratcher to me in that moment. So yeah, it's got to be Griffin and Store for sure, but they've also got to be given those opportunities. And at least last night, Griffin wasn't.
I will say this. I asked the question, how worried should we be? I would answer not actually worried at all. Like, the KU had Iowa State sort of where they wanted them late in a game where they made way more mistakes than they're normally going to make. Even turning the ball over at the clip that they turned the ball over, that was a 5-point game with a boneheaded offensive rebound allowed on a free throw that really, and then a 3-pointer that was sort of the dagger. Like, with everything that happened in that game, I don't think what we thought going into the game changes coming out of the game, which is that KU can and is capable of playing a level of defense that is going to allow them to win every game they play. And I think for a large part they did. It wasn't their defense that killed them. It was their offense that kept turning the ball over that killed them. So when we talk about pulling back on KJ Adams and DeJuan Harris, that's where I think the danger is, TJ, because we know those guys bring defense, right? We know those guys are elite level defenders. So how much can they give and take from the defense to try and generate offense that isn't there? And I'm not saying they shouldn't try. I definitely think they should try. I just don't know how realistic it is to pull those guys back, lose what they bring defensively, and try to gain something offensively from guys we're just not seeing it from now 16, 17 games into a season.
Yeah, I do. I think that's a two-sided coin as well, because I agree that they don't bring offensive, firepower that they can keep up with teams. I said that if they're playing against the team, we've seen it in the non-conference, but something's obviously changed. That if the team they're playing scores 70 points, I don't feel confident that KU can keep up and score 70, 75, 80 points. So I think that I agree. KJ Hunter and DeJuan are going to bring defense on that side, but at some point you just have to think like, something's got to give. I don't know if you put one of them in, one of them out. I know that was a big conversation that they had at the end of last year, but there was such a depth issue last year. This year they have the depth, and I feel like they just prefer this lineup more than they prefer every other lineup. So, I mean, if you were asking me to make a change, I agree with what Tommy said. I'd get Rylan Griffin in there more. I'd probably move, KJ or DeJuan to the bench and rotate those in one by one, have one of those guys come in and be a bench spark, which is obviously a huge thing that last year's team needed, and I feel like you could have on this year's team.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at KJ Adams' minutes. I mean, he only played 24 last night. He does consistently keep it in the mid-20s.
That's probably okay.
That's where he's been all year.
By the way, I think that there's also been in the defense of KJ Adams, I think there's been this sort of misconception that he's playing the entire game. He's played more than 35 minutes one time this season. I mean, they're not sending him out there nonstop. And we saw a lot. I feel like we saw a lot more of that a year ago. They didn't have anywhere else to go but him a year ago in that role. So, now you've got another big man in Flory Badunga. You've got a couple of other guys that can come in and be more versatile in that regard. So, as critical as I've been about the big three for KU, and I do believe, honest to God, I believe that the more that Dickinson, Harris, and Adams are leaned on, especially in big game spots, that's a recipe for this team, I think, to get bounced early in the NCAA tournament, honestly. But even though I am critical of that, and I believe that wholeheartedly, I do want to defend KJ Adams, at least in that regard. He's not playing a full 40 minutes or even 30 minutes a game. He is consistently in the 20s.
And I think that's right. I'm putting it square more on the other guys. Somebody's got to step up besides Zeke Mayo and provide some offense. Like, period. Like that to me, like those three guys and what they bring defensively, night in and night out, and experience and all that stuff. Like I don't believe that that's what's going to hurt Kate. Now, fundamentally, like is that the greatest lineup of all time? We can have that conversation, but as it pertains to this year, and this is the roster that's there, I do think you still have to lean into two of those three guys, DeJuan Harrison, Hunter Dickinson. And then somebody else is going to have to step up. Zeke Mayo has stepped up. And again, that game last night was close. Like KU, with all the mistakes and everything that they did wrong in that game, was right there because they still do play this high level of defense. That's what high level defense does for you. There must be, and it's probably got to be Storr. Storr probably will have to be the player that just steps it up offensively and maybe takes a little bit away from Zeke Mayo. I mean, Zeke Mayo's trying. Like, he's trying. I think he's been such a cool story this year. But Storr is the player of all those, even with Rylan Griffin. Like, Storr's the guy that is coming there to be kind of the McCullough replacement, right? Who is that other option? And he just isn't doing. He tried. He did. He was forcing it late, and I don't hate that either. By the way, like get in there and just do something.
Do something to provide a spark. I do think that this is probably more of a big picture discussion. I do think that there is a concerning / troubling trend just in general with Kansas basketball. Probably going back to after the 2020 season when that team was with Devon Dotson and Udoka Azubuike, and they were fantastic. And then the tournament got canceled. After that, I can't remember a true road game against an elite opponent, a top 10 opponent, that Kansas won. Like, I was going back and I was trying to think about that and look at that. There have been some neutral court victories over, big time opponents and home wins and that sort of thing. But it used to be, Bill self-coached teams would go into really hostile environments, and it's been Ames before. I remember a game when Devontae Graham was on the team and they went to OU, and OU was, I think, number 2 in the country at that point, and they beat them at their place. That happened against Missouri, 12 years ago, whenever that was, when Missouri was, still in the Big 12. That sort of thing happened a lot. It's not happening now. And it hasn't happened in some time. Those great Baylor teams against Scott Drew, Texas, I remember it happened against them, going to their place and not only not winning, but losing by double digits. I feel like that's a trend that's happened more in the last few years than what we've been accustomed to with Bill Self over his career.
Yeah, just looking at the 21-22 season, you're right. They were 6-4 on the road. They didn't win many conference road games.
But even again, like not just any conference road games, top tier, top 10 teams, and like they've been dismantled before on the road in those kind of environments.
It's a good point. And this is the team that should be able to do that, right?
You're right.
TJ, it's full of 30-year-olds. So that should be the team that's equipped to go do it. That's a tough spot last night. I may be subscribing to those that say this is Otzelberger's best team. Iowa State's really good.
They are really good.
And they are very complete. They are deep. They're even missing a key player and they look good. I think Houston is also really good for a lot of the same reasons. I think Houston's going to give KU fits because they're big and strong enough to take away Hunter Dickinson. KU, big picture, get them here to Wichita, but it'll be a matchup NCAA tournament for sure. It'll be a matchup NCAA tournament. You mentioned if that style, you're afraid of an early bounce. I am too. I don't think it'll be quite as dramatic a matchup tournament as last year was, but I do think it will be a very much a matchup tournament for KU. Get the right matchups, they might be in good shape. But man, you draw that one wrong team and it could be trouble for KU, no matter how big or small the school is. And I still think it's a team that can take away Dickinson's going to give KU the most trouble. And there's going to be a lot of teams in the Big 12 that are able to do that.
In March Madness, I think that I've said this, whenever you have a best player that's your 5-man that kind of slows KU down, honestly, the way that they play, because they want to get him the ball inside. And when you do that, you got to run set plays. You got to make sure he gets in position. You can't run and gun and like Iowa State did last night. They were chucking up 40-footers with 25 seconds on the shot clock and nailing them. KU can't do that. They want to get the ball to Hunter Dickinson. And whenever you get to March, you catch a team like Oakland last year against Kentucky, and they're playing with house money. They're going to pack it in all day long and let you try to beat them from outside. And KU might not be able to do that. If they catch one team that makes 15 3-pointers like we've seen pretty much all year, same problem the Shockers have, that these other teams are just lighting it up, and they let KU try, and they can't. So something's got to give with that. And I think I saw a stat, not to misquote the stat I saw on social media, but I think Bill Self is averaging 2 double-digit losses per season his entire coaching career at Kansas, and like 12 of them have come in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, if you had to attribute that to something, those years have kind of been, the last 2 years have been Hunter Dickinson years where everything slows down. And I think that's just not going to keep up with the modern Big 12 for one, but just the modern blue blood powers of college basketball, because they're kind of moving towards the NBA game of scoring really, really fast, and KU's not doing that.
Well, it's a good point too, Tommy, because it's not unusual for Bill Self to start an offense down low. He does that all the time. He did that with David McCormick in their last championship year. Okay, so what's the difference there? Well, they had a bunch of shooters on that team, right? They had a bunch of shooters, including Ochai Agbaji, who could shoot the lights out on that team. That's what they haven't had in 2 years, is somebody to hit a bunch of high volume, 1 or 2 players from the outside to allow them to start it inside. And that has been the Achilles heel. That's why they went and got these dudes. That's why they got Storr. That's why they got
100%.
Griffin. That's why they got Zeke Mayo. That's why they got all these guys, and they're just not hitting those shots.
Yeah, you're totally right. I remember a few years ago, they had Landon Lucas as the big man, and probably one of the weaker big men in Bill Self's era. But they had a bunch of shooters, and they were scoring the lights out of the ball because they had to play differently. And you know what? I guarantee you Bill Self hated it. Even though they were scoring a bunch of points and they were shooting the lights out. I mean, I think that was a year that Svi Mikhailuk was on the team, and like they had really good shooters. And I'm sure that he was like, man, I want to play down low. I want to play through my big. And I can't because it's Landon Lucas and he's not effective. It goes in the face of kind of what Bill Self's comfort level is. I mean, think of the great bigs he's had in his time at KU, and Cole Aldridge and Jeff Withey and Thomas Robinson, the twins. Like they've had really good bigs over the course of that time. And when he's got one that he trusts and leans on, it's hard to get offense from anywhere else.
It is, it's been their problem for 2 years, is that they don't hit enough threes. I'm pulling that 21-22 roster, and just to remind everybody of the 3-point shooters on that team. Oach was on that team, Christian Brown was on that team, Jalen Wilson was on that team, and Remy Martin was on that team, right? KU hadn't had a shooter like any of those guys in the last 2 years. Zeke Mayo is the closest thing, and he's trying. But some of these other guys are going to have to hit some outside shots if KU reaches its potential offensively. Defensively, I think they're fine. We'll come back. We've got football talk coming up next hour. We've got KState talk coming up next hour. It's Three-Man Boot today. Albrock, Caster, Cleveland. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new local news live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Age.
Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks to Crestview Country Club for supporting the program. Big events coming up over the next few weeks at Crestview. You've got a casino night, a prime rib night, a wine tasting, a Galentine's cocktail party. I'm guessing that means we're not invited to that, Tommy. You can get Super Bowl catering, all kinds of good stuff. I know the weather changes, but Crestview doesn't stop rocking and rolling. Give them a call. Ask them about all the different memberships. Tell them we sent you. We appreciate their support. Did you have on your bingo card Lou Holtz as like the ultimate Ohio State troll? I got to tell you, I love it. I don't know if you saw his most recent. We all remember like Ryan Day throwing a hissy fit because Lou Holtz was mean to him on TV and all that. Yeah. Well, he's doubling down. Here's what Lou Holtz said. I think this was yesterday. If Notre Dame doesn't win, it's because we want to preserve Ryan Day's job. Was originally going to be at the game in spirit. Now I'll be dragging my body along. He's lost to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan twice. Everybody beats him. Does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. And I know Notre Dame will take that same approach. God, I love it. I love it. Lou Holtz was honestly one of my favorite sports characters of my younger years. Like when I was a huge diehard Notre Dame fan, I was team Lou Holtz all the way, man. And I think he's been a fun analyst. I think he's quirky, but this beef with Ryan Day is one of my favorite chapters of the Lou Holtz saga. I've met him. He's an awesome dude. This cracks me up.
My favorite thing about Lou Holtz is you look at him, and especially with how old he is now and everything, like he looks like your great grandpa, right? Like, just like this nice old man, and he will absolutely eviscerate you if you're on his bad side. And you know what? They're clearly, and I know Notre Dame and Ohio State fans, don't like each other, whatever, but like there's clearly bad blood, and there has been for quite a while between these two guys. And I love it. I am here for it. We need those fireworks going into a national championship game against two programs that are blue bloods in college football. And you know what? Here, the other thing about what Lou Holtz said is that he's not entirely wrong. He's probably exaggerating some, but he's not entirely wrong. Like it's going to take probably a national championship for Ryan Day for the Ohio State fan base to probably get off his back.
Look, TJ's a national champion. Like he gets to talk that trash. He's got a natty. Ryan Day doesn't. I don't know if this would have escalated to this level without Ryan Day's very strange, like, offense taking after that game, because Lou Holtz, said something as a television analyst, right? I mean, imagine that. But now it's to this level where, of all the great things about Lou Holtz, I did not see him taking like Ohio State heel late in life as one of these things that makes him one of the great football characters.
Yeah, honestly, I remember whenever the whole Ryan Day thing happened, where he started screaming in the camera's face and spitting on it and everything like that. That I had to Google. I was like, what did he say to warrant this kind of reaction after a game? And it wasn't that bad at all. It's unreal, and it definitely wouldn't keep going if it wasn't for that. But now it's a whole sitcom, dramedy, soap opera. So you got to keep going now if you're Lou Holtz, because if he wins again, maybe he'll do it again. Who knows? And if Notre Dame wins, then Lou Holtz he might start screaming in a camera as well.
It doesn't. I mean, I'm sure Marcus Freeman doesn't love that Lou Holtz is adding this fuel to the fire, but it's great. Like, imagine picking a fight with how old is? Let me just do it quickly here. Imagine picking
almost 90, right?
Imagine picking a fight and taking offense at what a 90-year-old says.
Yeah,
like this guy's older than our presidential candidates. Like he's real old. He's 88 years old, and which means he was 87 last year when he got under Ryan Day's skin. Like, of all the crazy and wild things old people love to say, and it's going to be, by the way, one of the great things about reaching that age is you can like say whatever you want, whenever you want, no consequence, right? Old people get a hall pass. You're like, it's just, they're old, right? And, hey, whoa, grandpa, whoa. Like, that's going to be a great part about if we're so lucky to reach that kind of age, is that you get to say whatever you want, whenever you want. But that's a weird fight to pick if you're Ryan Day. That's a really, really old guy who loves his Notre Dame Fighting Irish that you're trying to like rally the truth. Imagine being in the locker room and Ryan Day playing the video before the game of Lou Holtz saying they're not very physical. And imagine being a player who's 20 years old enough to be a great grandkid of Lou Holtz, and saying like, who is that old guy? Like, what? Like that, what is he? Who is that guy? Like, it's just a weird hill to climb if you're Ryan Day, to me, anyway.
Yeah, it's weird to me. I mean, like, this is how old Lou Holtz is. He retired from coaching over 20 years ago. He was old when, like, Jacob, you and I were kids, and I remember him coaching at Notre Dame in the 90s. And he was old then, and he's older now. And the fact that Ryan Day. And look, I think Ryan Day in some ways gets more heat than what he deserves.
He's a great coach.
He gets more heat than he deserves. But for him to even entertain this and for this feud to linger on, and going back to when he took offense to what Lou Holtz said, like it's one of those things where, like, when you're a kid and your parent, like, you've got somebody picking on you and your parents are like, hey, the best way to get a bully to stop, like, pretend it doesn't bother you. And it absolutely bothers Ryan Day. Don't let it bother you. Like, there was a question, by the way, I think it was a press conference or an interview with Ryan Day just in the last couple of days, asking if he had talked to Lou Holtz ever since the spat when that happened, and Ryan Day just said no, like just a one word no, and like didn't want to talk about it anymore. Like it clearly has gotten under his skin, and it's continued. But man, like this is a weird thing.
Ryan Day was like 7 years old when Lou Holtz was in his prime. It's an interesting fight that I'm here for because I love Lou Holtz and I grew up a Notre Dame fan, so I love it. Like, bring it on. Like, rally the troops however you can. Lou Holtz. Love that he stays in the news now once a year. Again, I've met him. He was a very, very funny and nice guy, and clearly he's having fun with this. You don't at 88, like, you want to know if you still got it? You still got it when you can come up with, if Notre Dame doesn't win, it's because we want to preserve Ryan Day's job. At 88 years old, like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, setting that tone, because we know because we saw it, how that makes Ryan Day feel. It bugs him, which is all Lou Holtz is trying to do right there. It's just trying to bug him.
The reason why Lou Holtz is going to win this and already has won this between him and Ryan Day is because Holtz has nothing to lose and Ryan Day has a lot to lose.
Yes.
And so you're battling. It's an unfair battle for Ryan Day. So don't even pick the fight. Like, just stay away from it.
By the way, Ryan Day, if he wins this game, should go to the NFL. No more undeserving heat for a coach that exists right now than for Ryan Day. I hope he does, so Ohio State fans can shut up and realize it's a pretty good deal to win 11 games a year and have the best players every year. Ridiculous. Not to, I don't care one way or the other about Ryan Day, but dude can obviously coach. Like, he's really good at what he does, and they ought to be happy they've got him. Ridiculous amount of heat that he takes. All right. Here's some other big news, TJ. Switching gears to the NFL from yesterday, Jalen Watson's going to play. I mean, he's practicing in full. Like, they can be as coy as they want and say, well, we'll see how it, no, he's practicing in full. He's going to play. It immediately, like, when he left the defense, and I have not gone through and pulled all the numbers. I thought about it, but I think to some degree we can just like trust our gut on that. This was a much better defense with Jalen Watson on it, and they haven't had him since week 7. That's a big deal for the Chiefs in the postseason to get him. If he's 100% and they just get to get him back along with all their offensive weapons, man, that could be a huge impact in these playoff games.
Yeah, it's huge. You talk about how good the defense was back in the early season. It was kind of, a little bit of the offense struggling and the defense kind of carrying them to these wins. And then, that happened. And then a couple other things happened. And then it was, they got in a shootout with the Panthers. They were letting the Raiders drive the field on them to go beat them. Everything like that. The Chargers, even, you can go game by game through this. Ever since that Chargers win, the doink or whatever it was to clinch the West, the defense has played great. They've played pretty awesome. The Texans gave them some fits, but the Texans are also really good. They hold the Browns to 7 points. They hold the Steelers to 10 points. Obviously, they wasn't playing against the Broncos there. So I think that the defense was playing great to get him back right now heading into the playoffs. We talked about it the other day with Dan Israel that everybody – it's going to be a team that we've never seen before. We have never seen Hollywood Brown on the same field as Isaiah Pacheco. We've never seen Isaiah Pacheco really on the same field as Kareem Hunt for the most part, in a couple of weeks at most.
Not at full go, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, you've never seen all these guys play together at one time, and it feels like you've got to be optimistic as a Chiefs fan going into these playoffs. That this on paper is the best product you've put on the field all year long.
And so there's no question. It's weird. It's a strange thing to be the healthiest you've been at the end of the season. Tommy, I've talked about how I think Travis Kelce will be unlocked here, and I absolutely think he will be. Chris Jones, I think, may get some of that too. He's been taking it easy for a while, but I think that he's going to be allowed. It's funny, like all of these new players, but to me, this postseason screams about Jones and Kelce being the keys for Kansas. Like, I think they could have massive postseasons. I think they're poised for it. I think they're primed for it. I think the defense is ready to sort of turn Chris Jones loose a little bit. And I do think he'll have that same kind of impact. And all of these things help, right? Getting Jalen Watson back to shore up the secondary helps Chris Jones be more aggressive in what it is that he does against quarterbacks. It's making me nervous. it's making me nervous that everything seems to be going the Chiefs' way right now. Like the NFL plays tricks on us all the time.
Well, and don't discount the fact that with Kelsey and Jones, both of them are older and they've gotten a good amount of rest. And I think that, the rest that they've been able to have, it's going to be more beneficial for guys Kelsey's age and Jones's age to be able to be full go and healthy and all of that. You play an 18-game regular season, or in the case of those two guys, 17-game regular season because they rested the final week. It's a grind. It wears on your body, and that there are probably everybody will have small nagging injuries, bumps and bruises, and things like that. They've had a chance to get rested, get their legs underneath them a little bit heading into the playoffs, and so just for that fact alone, even regardless of them being unlocked from maybe a scheme perspective or, focus on other guys, whatever, even beyond all that, just the fact that they're probably going to be a lot more rested and healthy and ready to go, should probably pay off dividends, I would think.
If you're the Chiefs coaches, and they don't need this like other teams need it, TJ, like how do you avoid overconfidence? Because it does feel that way, right? Like you've had this rest, everybody's healthy, you finally get it back, like you're feeling good, you're feeling swaggy, and then the Texans are that team that does have the makeup to be the kind of team that gives you fits, with their pass rush and their playmaking quarterback and all of these things. How do you avoid it if you're the Chiefs? Like what is the message? Do they even need one with Mahomes and Kelsey and Jones at the lead?
Yeah, it's definitely a story, but I think that with the way that the Chiefs season is gone and everybody calling them the luckiest team, the worst number 1 seed that we've seen in years because of the way that these games have gone, I think it's a completely different vibe for the Chiefs right now. I think that I think that this is what they have been waiting for, to feel this level of confidence. I think that they really did kind of skate by and, wins are wins, but I'm sure that was something in the back of their heads about everybody calling them lucky and calling them the worst division champion and everything like that. So I think that it's huge for them. I don't think that you need to calm them down by any means, but I do agree the Texans are something that, if you overlook them, which I think some people might be, I think that they could give you fits.
I don't know. We'll talk about that in the next hour. I wonder if people still do think that about the Chiefs. We're going to have PJ Glasser in to help us with bets. Tim Fitzgerald in the next hour as well. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust." Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
Welcome back in, everybody. Second hour here on Sports Daily. KFH tonight has Butler basketball. The number 11 Grizzlies hosting Cloud County. You can hear it, 7:15, right here on 97.5, 1240 KFH over the air, or you can go online and listen at kfhradio.com or on the free Odyssey app. You can also find this show in podcast form on the Odyssey app. You can also leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app, one of the great ways to listen to the show. We appreciate everybody who's in their car listening to us here over the air on the radio, on the Odyssey app, and who's watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, all kinds of different ways to get in touch with the program. You can leave us comments there. You can tweet right at us. We'll get to those as we make our way through. It is Jacob Albrocht, Tommy Castor, TJ Cleveland today. We've been talking about a lot of things in the first hour. KU loses. If you missed anything on our KU conversation, you can go back and listen to that. We were talking before the break about the Chiefs, Jalen Watson coming back. Rick chimes in, says, I heard a podcast on the Chiefs that says Watson might play but would be limited on a snap count. Maybe. I don't know. And the Chiefs aren't going to say that. I don't know how anybody does know that. All I know is he's practicing in full, not limited, and he's there. So in whatever capacity, he's there, and he hasn't been, so he should help them out. TJ said something, Tommy, before we went to break that's interesting. There has been a large portion of this season where people have felt like the Chiefs weren't as good as a number 1 seed, had been getting lucky. I do wonder, though, Do you think anybody's still saying that? Because they have been much better lately. And maybe if people are only focusing on the way that they played the Broncos, if you're foolish enough to subscribe to that being a real game. But if you go back, like their last month or so, they've been playing much better as they've been getting healthier. I'm not sure people maybe next round, maybe people think that the Ravens and or the Bills are better, but I don't know that anybody's sleeping on the Chiefs like they were 2 months ago.
Yeah, I don't think that they are. And, you go back and you look at who they played in the last month or so. I mean, even the Broncos game, which of course they played their backups, the Broncos were a playoff team. The Steelers were a playoff team. The Texans obviously are a playoff team. Their last 3 games were against AFC playoff games. They went 2-1 in those 3 games. And the one that they lost, they played their backups. They beat the Texans by more than a touchdown. Remember the Christmas Day game where they blew out the Steelers, who were at the beginning of that slide, but the Steelers on Christmas Day were not perceived as the Steelers that just lost and blown out by the Ravens last weekend in the wild card round, right? So I think the Chiefs beating the Steelers by 19 on Christmas Day, that at the time, that was something that everybody was like, wow, like the Steelers were, I mean, they had, I think that was maybe the second game of their losing streak that the Steelers had. So the perception was a lot different then. They've had quality wins against good opponents, against playoff teams in the last month or so. And it hadn't been that really razor thin margin of victory where it's like one thing that could have gone a different way and the outcome would have been different for Kansas City. Like, again, they beat the Texans by more than a touchdown the week before Christmas, and they beat the Steelers by 19 on Christmas Day to wrap up the number 1 seed. So yeah, they've played a lot better and they've been able to expand that margin of victory also.
Yeah, it's been bigger margins for sure, TJ. I think a lot of it is getting healthy, but there's other things besides that. Joe Thuney has been, although not amazing, a much better option at left tackle. Xavier Worthy has evolved and blossomed into a really, really important weapon in this offense and has really opened up Mahomes' ability to not get sacked. And I still don't think we've seen the full workload of Isaiah Pacheco that we may see in the postseason. I'm not sure about that one because I think Andy Reid may love this quick passing game. But I do think there was some preservation of Isaiah Pacheco happening late in the year to keep him fresh for this spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. I think that it's either that or we talked to, Dan Israel the other day. He doesn't know who they're going to play, Kareem or Isaiah Pacheco, to be the kind of bell cow, I guess is the way to think about it.
Don't you think Pacheco's the better option, by the way, on that? I mean, he's so much more explosive than Hunt. Hunt's been, I don't want to take anything away from Hunt. He's helped save their season, but he's not what Isaiah Pacheco at this point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great problem to have. I think that I really expect this game. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, so I think that you have an opportunity to experiment with that a bit. I think that, it might be a split rep game. I bet that they'd get, honestly, about the same amount of carries in this game, I imagine, what they'll do. So, but as you said, I think that it is a completely different team that we've seen from the beginning of the year, and I think that part of that too is, the beginning of the year was a different team than we saw in the playoffs last year. I think that they were learning. They had Xavier Worthy, who's the fastest player in combine history, and they didn't know how to use him. I felt like, they kept throwing, Hail Marys, for lack of a better term, deep to him. And I don't think they've connected on one of them all year long. Maybe like one 40-yard gain, I think, against the Chargers, if I remember right, actually back in week 4. But that's not who he ended up being. He's really great in the jet sweeps, in the screenplays, and he's a great receiver. He's blossomed into, and I think that they've just continually learned how to use him and continually learned how to use Joe Thuney left tackle. They've continually learned how to use wherever all the new pieces fall, and I think that they're finally the good amount of familiarity with this team of what they're doing.
What's interesting, Tom, you brought up that the Chiefs have played these playoff teams lately. The Chiefs have played all of these playoff teams. Like, they've played all of them. And so you go back and you see the game against Buffalo, and the game against, I don't even know, honestly, that you can take anything away from that game because of who was out on the field, right? I think they had just gotten DeAndre Hopkins. Worthy had a nice game, but I think they missed on a connect. Like, it's not the same team. And that's the thing about the Chiefs. They were 15-1, and they are at their best now. It's not even the same team we saw early. So the team that was getting lucky in all of these games against the Falcons and the Bengals and the Chargers and the Broncos and all, that's not what this team currently is. It's not even close.
You look at the injury report this week, too. The only player that was limited was McCole Hardman, who's currently on injured reserve. That was it. Everybody else was a full participant, including Jalen Watson. You contrast that with the Texans team that has been beat up. They played a week ago, and they're going to be going into this game a little bit more, actually a lot more shorthanded than the Chiefs will be. Like Shaq Mason is not expected to play for the Texans. Joe Mixon was limited in practice yesterday, and so that's something that definitely bodes watching as the week continues. I'm sure he'll be out there, but who knows how effective he'll be. Al-Shahir, after returning from his suspension that he had late in the season, he was a limited participant for the Texans. So they're definitely dealing with more things than what Kansas City is right now. And, so again, not taking anything away from the talent level that Houston has. They're in the playoffs for a reason. They won a playoff game for a reason, all of that. But they don't have the luxury to have the kind of rest and, be able to get healthy like Kansas City's been able to.
And to their credit, they've overcome, TJ, their own high amount of adversity this year. They really have. I don't want, like, they've got the house money effect here. Nobody on the planet is giving them a chance. But I don't want to forget about two things: the rust and the level of defense the Chiefs must play early to make sure that rust doesn't hurt them. And the Chiefs' offensive line still isn't good at the tackle spot in either spot. Like, whether it's Tooney or Humphreys or whatever they do, like, Tooney's been so much better in it. Like, unbelievable job by him to just be better, but they're still not good there. And the Texans do have elite level pass rushers. So that's it. Like, if you're looking for that thing, I think that's the place you look. Is we knew for much of this season, the Chiefs' offensive line was 100% a bad liability, and they are one bad play away from one of those pass rushers getting to Mahomes and something bad happening. Still, like, that dynamic still exists. You just hope that the Chiefs are more equipped to deal with it now, and they are. They're more equipped to deal with it now than they were 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think that, I think I brought it up on Sports Sunday talking to Brandon about this matchup, that you think back to December 21st, whenever these teams played back then. And, the Texans were a feared team. They were going to be the winners of their division and pose a bunch of problems for the Chiefs. And that was the one where you looked at the Chiefs schedule at week 8 or whatever of who can beat this team. And it was the Texans are really going to give them fits. And turned out it wasn't going to be that. And they went on a bit of a slide. But right now it feels like it's that conversation again. It's every reason that the Texans were kind of feared in the regular season. It's going to happen in this postseason. Their pass rush is awesome, and the Chiefs' offensive line is not awesome. I think that's the biggest thing that you can look at in this game, that they could give Mahomes fits. He hasn't been hit in a while. He hasn't played in a month, but even during that span, he didn't get hit for quite a bit. He didn't get sacked, at least. So I think that it depends on what offensive line we're going to see, but I think that if there's a team that could turn the Chiefs back into the old Chiefs back in the early season, I think that it could be the Texans. They got a really good pass rush.
Tommy, do you remember real quick how many sacks the Texans had against the Chiefs in that game?
Did they get to Mahomes at all?
One time.
One. Yeah. I was trying to think back to, they did a good job. And again, we talked about this yesterday at length, you and I did, about how Kansas City has combated that and pass rush, where it hasn't been exceptional play from the ends of the line. It's been getting the ball out quickly. It's been the quick strike offense, and then leaning more on the running game. That's really what's worked.
It's been a lot of Xavier Worthy, honestly. Yeah. Like, his development, like the timeline of his development, I don't think is a coincidence in that parallel of when the Chiefs stopped allowing Mahomes to get sacked 5 times a game. Like, as he's ascended and become this, dynamic. It's not, and that's the thing. It's not just jet sweeps and screens and bombs anymore. Like, he's running all kinds of routes out there. That's the part I think that is now, because now you've got to try to stop that, and Hopkins and Kelsey and Gray and everything else. That's been the big help. We'll talk to PJ Glasser about it next, see what he thinks. Is he giving the Texans a chance here? We'll talk about that next on Sports Daily. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
get busy.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
It's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
That's right, it is. PJ Glasser, our betting insider, and he's on the line now. He's the host of Send It In, an Odyssey Sports Betting Insider. PJ Glasser, Insider Calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. Also, be sure to listen to the Send It In podcast. For more analysis, search Send It In wherever you find your podcasts, like on the Odyssey app. PJ, welcome in. Happy divisional round. Happy national championship. We got a big and maybe the best weekend of football of the year coming up.
And I know it's a big week, and we got a 3-man crew working, right? So
that's right.
This is what it's all about, fellas. Yeah, I think it's the best week of the year in football. You add the national championship in with these 4 games. It's going to be awesome.
I want to jump ahead. Let's start in college football. Let's jump ahead there first and talk about that national championship game. We were talking in our first hour about the incredible troll job Lou Holtz is trying to pull right now on Ryan Day and Ohio State. I got to tell you, 8.5 points doesn't feel like enough to me for Notre Dame. I don't know how they're going to score in this game. What are you reading on this one?
I'm with you. And it was at 9.5 early on and then went down to 8.5. And I really don't understand the move down. I like Ohio State in the game, you guys. Look, I think it's a big concern for Notre Dame that they barely survived Penn State, and Penn State didn't complete a single pass to a wide receiver. And now you're going up against Ohio State, who's got the best crop of receivers in the country. I also think it's a terrible matchup for Notre Dame's defense because they love to play man defense across the board, right? And that's what's got you to this point. That's what made your defense so good. So is Marcus Freeman all of a sudden going to tell his team that just because we are facing great receivers and a great team that we're not going to do that anymore? So I think Notre Dame's going to stay true to who they are. They're going to play, man coverage on the outside and against Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibukum and Carnell Tate. Good luck with that. So I think from just the game plan and matchup standpoint, it's not a good one for Notre Dame. And then offensively, the Irish obviously are a team that want to run the football and they want to grind you down and they want to control time of possession. And against this Ohio State defense, that's going to be tough to do. So matchup wise, I've liked the matchup for Notre Dame up to this point. Indiana, Georgia, Penn State. All these teams don't really have dynamic offenses. Notre Dame can play their game. They can suffocate them with their defenses. Can't really do that against Ohio State. I think the argument to be made for Notre Dame is the fact that Ohio State has struggled this year, obviously, against Michigan, against Nebraska, against Penn State. All those games were lower scoring, and Ohio State has struggled. Problem is, the Ohio State team that we've seen in the playoff, they've opened it up on offense, and they've gone much more spread, and they're starting to use their receivers. So maybe if this game was played 5-6 weeks ago when Ohio State was, going about their ways offensively, it'd be a different story. But nowadays, the national championship, fellas, I think 8.5 is a good bet with Ohio State.
Certainly, PJ, as far as the over-under is concerned, as of right now, most books have it around 46.5 for that total. To me, it seems a little bit like the books are anticipating Notre Dame maybe being able to do a little bit defensively to shut down, maybe not shut down Ohio State, but maybe slow them down maybe early in the game or whatever. I don't know if that's the right read on it or not. I know you don't like Notre Dame's defense. Where do you feel this total is going?
Tommy, I totally agree with you. If you like Notre Dame in the game, I think it correlates to the under because of the 3 games I was just talking about. Michigan beat Ohio State 13-10. Penn State lost 20-13. Nebraska lost 21-17, right? All 3 of those games within 1 possession, all 3 of those games under 46.5. That's going to be Notre Dame's plan of attack to try and keep this game close or pull off the upset. So if it's Ohio State, it could go either way. They could win a 31-7 game. They could win 38-20. I could see a couple different things. But for Notre Dame, I really can't see them keeping it close with Ohio State and the game being a shootout. I think their path to victory or their path to keeping it close is a lower scoring game. So I think this is one of those bets, guys. If you like the Irish, I would correlate it with the under.
PJ, I'm wondering in this national championship, you got a lot of offensive stars between the 2 teams. You got any darts to throw at the dartboard? Who you see scoring in this game? With the 2 Jeremiahs, Will Riley, Quinshon. Do you think it's going to be a bunch of stars leading the way for this game?
Probably will be. I certainly think, TJ, the better bet is to go with an Ohio State guy because they're more likely to score. I've been betting all postseason Emeka Ibuka to find the end zone at plus 145 because everybody talks about Jeremiah Smith, and rightfully so. But Ibuka is also fantastic, and he could be a first-round wide receiver. And especially in these big games like this, when Ohio State faces good defenses, Ibuka is usually the guy in the red zone. You know, Jeremiah Smith is like the big play receiver. He's the home run hitter. Once they get in the red area, though, and they need the tough yardage or they need third down conversions or something like that, Ibuka's the guy. So I love his price, you know, in all these games because all the attention's on Smith. They got two great running backs. Will Howard can run a little bit as well. Feels like the best value is always on Ibuka. So I always like him at plus 145. And then Riley Leonard, if you're going to bet somebody on Notre Dame, he would be the guy also at plus 125. Ohio State's defense is really tough to just break off big touchdowns. You're going to have to work your way down the field. And when Notre Dame gets in the red zone, especially inside the 5, they really use Riley Leonard in that area. So I think Leonard for Notre Dame, Ibuka for Ohio State would be my two looks.
All right, let's go to the NFL, PJ. We'll take them game by game up first. The Chiefs, the team we're following closely. For 3 days now, we've been talking about it. I can't find the path for Houston. I know it's a big line, but man, this feels like a great spot for the Chiefs. 8.5 points, though. Are you comfortable with that, or where's your feel for this one?
Yeah, if I had to bet the game, I think I would take Kansas City minus 8.5. I'm honestly surprised this game hasn't gotten to 9 yet because this feels like the ultimate teaser, right? You just tease them down to 2.5 and you could bet it that way. But even at the 8.5, I think Kansas City is a good bet. I mean, like you, Jacob, it's going to be tough for the Texans to score in this game, right? I know these teams played about 3-4 weeks ago, and Houston was competitive, and they were up in that third quarter. And then the Tank Dell injury just kind of changed everything. And, you know, you watch Houston since then. They've obviously struggled. And it's the Chiefs in the postseason, right? And it's Spags in the postseason. And just really, you got to take away Nico Collins. And after that, let everybody else beat you. So they should be able to control the ground game with Joe Mixon, should be able to limit Nico Collins' touches. And then after that, kind of just let, you know, CJ Stroud try and throw it to other guys to beat you. So if I had to make a bet in the game, I do like Kansas City. The angle that I like in this game, guys, and you might have to shop around to find this bet, but I like Kansas City opening drive touchdown. It's like plus 270 at most shops. My theory is that all of us are going to watch this game, right? And obviously with the Ravens-Bills showdown that's happening, and a lot of people feel like the winner of that game maybe could go to the Super Bowl. I feel like with this being the first game up, we haven't seen the Chiefs starters since Christmas. There's been all this talk about how overrated they've been and what, you know, how much of a fraud they are this season as a 15-win team. I could just see them opening up the game just on a beautiful drive going right down the field. Kelsey gets a couple of touches. Mahomes looks great. Pacheco a couple runs. And we're just all sitting there going like, oh, God, they're going to win it again, aren't they? Right? Like, here we go. 3-peat on its way. So I kind of like that angle. I think the Chiefs are going to start really fast in this game. So I like attacking them first quarter, first drive, those kind of things.
You know, this is the first time really, PJ, that the Chiefs have had their full complement of offensive weapons, really outside of Rashee Rice, on the field. And so it might make it a little bit more difficult to figure out exactly where the distribution is going to go to, as you know, as it relates to pass catchers or even running backs with Pacheco and Hunt. But then you've got DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce and, you know, Worthy. Hollywood Brown is back. How in the world, at least when it comes to Kansas City, do you look at the player prop market in this game?
It's tough, Tommy. Yeah, you know, I'm going to be honest. I really haven't done too much with Kansas City props in this game for that exact reason, right? Because this is really the first time we've seen him this healthy outside of Rice. And just because it's the playoffs and now Kansas City is really going to lock in and focus, immediately your attention turns to Kelsey. That would be the guy that you would think would benefit the most from the playoffs just because of all the years with Mahomes and how good they tend to be in these kind of games. If I had to pick a guy maybe that I would buy stock in right now, it would be Xavier Worthy. I think he's the difference maker for this team with his speed and the different ways that they can get him the ball. So Kelsey over 53.5 receiving yards. If I had to make a bet on a skill position player, he would be the guy. But I tend to think throughout this postseason run, and if the Chiefs want to get the 3-peat, I think Worthy's going to need to be the guy for him.
Going to the NFC, the other game on Saturday, the Commanders get into that divisional round, but they get the Lions. How much stock do you buy in Jaden Daniels and the Commanders? Are they a good enough team to win this game, or are they a good enough team to cover 9?
It's going to be a heck of a game, guys. This is a tough one, right? Because it's one of these bets where, like, when you get to this time of the year and the lines are so sharp and it feels too big, generally the favorites tend to cover. But, man, it's tough to bet against Jaden Daniels with all those points. It really is. That kid just finds ways to win games every week. He finds ways to keep his team in the game. If you're asking me who I would bet, I would take Detroit, though. It feels like Washington is kind of this like team of destiny vibe, right? They had the Hail Mary against Chicago, failed 2-point conversion against the Saints. Devontae Smith drops the pass when they're playing the Eagles. Last week, you get the fumble from Banker, and then the kicker doinks in the field goal. So Washington kind of feels like this team of destiny. The problem is when you get this team of destiny type vibe, eventually you just run into a team that's just too good, right? Like NC State men's basketball had a great run in the tournament. Then they run into Zach Edey and Purdue. The New York Mets in baseball, it felt like they had destiny vibes. Then they run into the Dodgers and they go home. Kind of feels like the same thing for Washington. It just feels like you're facing a different beast. You're facing a different animal offensively. So I kind of like the Lions in the game. I will say a prop that I like quite a bit in this game is Terry McLaurin, longest reception over 23.5 yards. We know Detroit likes to be aggressive. They like to bring pressure. They like to play man defense. And if Jaden Daniels sees that, he's going to go to his guy on the outside. McLaurin's one of the best deep ball receivers, one of the best contested catch receivers in the NFL. So I like that look for him as well. Washington's going to have to run the ball in this game. They had no run game against Tampa. They got to stay balanced and they got to stay on the field to try and maintain drives so they can keep the Lions offense off the field. Wouldn't be surprised if, the Commanders cover just because it's a lot of points, but I would lean towards Detroit.
All right, let's look at Rams Eagles. Are the Rams the team that nobody's talking enough about? The Rams can beat the Eagles, can't they? 6 points? I don't know, man. That's tough.
They could beat the Eagles, Jacob, but you got to remember again that this is the Rams outdoors. This is Stafford outdoors. And more importantly, it's the Rams outdoors in cold weather. And that's a big concern for me. This has obviously been a guy who's been a dome quarterback his entire career, right? Whether it was with Detroit or whether it's with the Rams. And guys, it's insane to look back at what the Rams have done over their last 4 games when their starters have played. Their defense has not given up more than 10 points, right? So against Minnesota, they only gave up 9. Against Arizona, they gave up 9. The Jets, they gave up 9. And then that Thursday night game against San Francisco, they gave up 6. The problem is in a lot of those games, they failed to reach 20 points as well. And in the game against the Jets, where it was freezing cold, they scored 19. And in the game against San Francisco, where it was raining, they only were able to score 12 points, only scored 1 touchdown in both of those games. So that's my concern for the Rams, and obviously these teams played back in Thanksgiving week on Sunday Night Football. Philly beat them 37-20. Saquon had a massive day on the ground, and I think that's the same plan of attack. Minnesota, obviously, they were trailing right away, and they just kind of got into trail mode, and they were throwing, and that Rams D-line just kind of, they pinned their ears back, and they got 9 sacks on Darnold. Philly's not going to do that. They're going to run the ball. They're going to lean on their defense. I kind of see this game being similar to what the Green Bay game was, like 22-10, 23-12, like some funky score like that. Rams team total under is my favorite play in the game, under 19.5. The Rams certainly could cover. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but the thing I feel best about is the Rams really struggling to put up points outdoors in, cold temperatures. Could be raining, could be snowing against Philly, so I like the team total under.
All right, one more. Your Ravens, the big one, the one everyone's been waiting for, the one everyone's been talking about. They're actually road favorites in this game, which I imagine as a fan, you don't love hearing those kinds of things. But, where do you stand in this game? There's going to be a lot made of the quarterbacks, as there should be. Can Lamar finally have that big playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to need to. And they're going to need to keep feeding Derrick Henry. I can tell you guys this. The Ravens, if their game plan is the same against the Steelers as it is against Buffalo, they're going to win the game. I've been waiting for a game plan like that for 6 years. Just run the ball and keep running. And if they can't stop it, run it again. They had one drive, guys, where they ran 13 runs and 0 passes, and they scored a touchdown, and it was just beautiful. And that's why they brought Derrick in. So I think he's the difference maker, because with him in the backfield, you know that you can't abandon the run. You have to lean on him. They're calling for cold temperatures, looking like we're getting a 50% chance of snow. And I actually think that benefits the Ravens, because even though the Bills are supposed to be a team that's built to play in that stuff, the Ravens are the best running team in the NFL. So I think that's a big advantage for them. Also, guys, Josh Allen in his career against the Ravens has really never played them well. Played them 4 times, and he's never thrown for more than 215 passing yards. And I know a lot of people are talking about the Bills' defense is going to be a lot different when, the Ravens face them in the playoffs on Sunday, opposed to when they faced them in Week 4. Well, the Ravens' defense is going to be a lot different too. Baltimore's pass defense was one of the worst in the NFL early on in the season. Now they're playing one of the best. They're playing as one of the best defenses. So both defenses are going to be different, but the Ravens is also going to be way different. And Allen already tends to struggle with the Ravens to begin with. Buffalo against Denver did such a good job running the ball on first down. It felt like they were consistently living in 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4. And when you got Josh Allen in that down and distance, it's impossible to stop him. Ravens have the number 1 run defense in the NFL. To me, that's the story of the game. Can Buffalo manufacture any kind of early down running with James Cook? Can they stay ahead of the chains? That'll be the big story to me of the game, if Buffalo's able to run the ball. If not, I think the Ravens are going to take it. So I like the Ravens to win this game. Jacob, you mentioned that, probably as a Ravens fan, I don't love the fact that they're favored on the road in Buffalo, but I kind of look at it as a thing of like, Buffalo's 9-0 at home this season. This is the first time ever that the Bills are an underdog in a home playoff game. I don't know. Kind of feels like the sports books are telling you something. So I like the Ravens in the game.
Yeah, maybe into your don't have the same game plan, Harbaugh, that you had against the Chiefs last year in the postseason.
Exactly.
That would be the one. All right, PJ, we appreciate it. We're up against it. Thank you. Enjoy the football weekend. We're with you. We think it'll be the best one yet.
You guys as well. Thanks for having me. Talk to you next week.
Let's all make some money. That was the host of Send It In, an Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, PJ Glasser, Insider Calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. Kind of crazy as we go, listening to, that with that game and the total to still be at 51.5. Both of those defenses are good. Both of those teams want to run the ball. They may have to. It's bad weather. That total's still at 51.5.
I think it just shows the credit and the respect that the books are giving to both of those offenses, both of those quarterbacks and the playmakers that they've got.
And the quarterbacks that TJ
100%.
could take off and house call it at any given point in that game.
Yeah, I hope the overhits. I hope that they score 80 points. I want to see
me too. Yeah, I
awesome
love
game in
offense.
this one.
I'm team offense for sure.
Really?
All the totals really are pretty high. That you got 2 really high ones and 2 pretty low ones. Actually, the Chiefs play the lowest total, 41.5. Let that sink in. That's pretty crazy. We're gonna have Tim Fitzgerald. He's up early with us this morning. How much heat should Jerome Tang be taking? We'll check in from Manhattan with our KState Insider next.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor, TJ Cleveland, and Tim Fitzgerald, a KState Insider. Go powercat.com, at Life of Fitz on social. We got Daphne the dog here with us as well, Fitz, to bring in some reinforcements.
Yep.
Welcome in to
look
Sports
at this.
Daily. We appreciate it. Thanks for
It's
being here.
everyone. Everyone
whole-
together.
The whole gang is here with nothing but good things to talk about.
I don't even know why I'm
Surely we
here.
don't need to get into the fact that K-State's the worst team in the net in the Big 12. Surely we don't need to get into the fact that they still don't have a high-quality win. You can count Cincinnati if you want on the schedule. 4 losses in a row. What is it, 5 minutes?
Valley State.
Yeah. 5 minutes of basketball, game minutes, not real minutes, game minutes without scoring the other night. They can't.
Trying to make it difficult on themselves.
Can't generate any offense. Fitz, how big picture here? Because small picture, I don't think anybody anymore can see a path to much success this season. Are we to the point where the big picture stuff starts entering the equation? I think we are, aren't we? We're worried about this thing, big picture.
Oh yeah. This is they got a lot of really delicious ingredients for the soup, and the soup is crap. This hasn't worked, and we're seeing NIL purchase teams around the country fail too, or maybe not as gloriously as Kansas State, but this isn't working. And it's almost like hired guns aren't loyal to you and just want to be paid. So I think this is good for college basketball. I hate that Kansas State's going through it, but I like the idea that you can't just go buy a team and be successful. Even though that cheat code was used at Kansas State, everyone thought it would work. It hasn't worked. And after the last game, Jerome Tang announced that we're going to start worrying about the future. And only the guys who really want to be on the court and earn it in practice are going to be on the court. And he played some guys that haven't played a lot of minutes this year, including point guard David Castillo in the crunch time. And he's decided we got to get him that experience for the future, because that's basically what they have left this season is the future.
That final 5 minutes against Texas Tech, I feel like was kind of the microcosm of the way that this season has been for the Wildcats, where, I mean, for a large portion of that game, they were in it. They played really well. They had a stretch in the first half where they, went on an 11-0 run and turned a 8-point deficit into a 3-point lead. But in the crunch time, when it mattered the most, the offense disappeared. Now, credit to Tech and their suffocating defense in that regard. But to me, it kind of sums up the way that this team has been basically this entire season when it matters most. Especially the guys that are being paid to deliver haven't been able to deliver.
Yeah, exactly. This team really hasn't ever known what its identity is in those moments when it needs a basket. What does it do? Their plan, and I put this on the coaches as much as anyone, the plan at the end of the games apparently is point guard, race up the court and shoot the ball. It doesn't matter if it's a good shot, just shoot it. And that isn't working. That worked when your point guard was Marquise Noel, but it's not working now. And it didn't work last year very often. And I think they've now realized that they have to approach this entirely differently. And the difference with how they lost the other night to Texas Tech was, they went scoreless the last 5:50 of that game, but Tech only scored 4 points. So in the past, let's be honest, the opponent would have scored like 16 points and it had been a blowout. That's where we're at right now. We're taking these little victories within the losses as hopeful signs maybe that they're improving. I thought they were much better defensively. They were much better with their effort. They weren't particularly better offensively, which has usually meant they get blown out. So I take away some encouragement, and I'm happy that Jerome Tang has decided we're going to just keep going forward into next season. We've got to get this roster ready because this plan obviously isn't working. We're going to have to shift over to maybe the way we did it before with the two plans melded together. And it's going to be a process. You know what that means, guys? They're not going to be very good next year because they're going to try to go get some young players to start doing this the right way. But Jerome Tang has that time because he just signed a new contract that Kansas State absolutely cannot afford to buy out. in the era of revenue sharing that is coming in the fall. You've already got $22 million allocated for student athletes. You can't pay another almost $20 million out to buy out a coach. So that just isn't a reality. And I'd say in any of the schools in this area, you can't do that. So they're trying to make the best of a horrific situation of their own creation.
Fitz, I'm wondering, you look at social media, you look at the stands the other night, it wasn't a packed house and fans are talking with their money. Fans are talking on social media. Bald guys in Manhattan are pretty disgruntled right now as well, too. But, what's the vibe of this Kansas State? Is there any hot water? We hear Coach Tang go on the press conference, and he's such an optimist. You wouldn't really think anything's going on. Is there something behind the scenes that you think that Kansas State's talking to Jerome Tang? Just kind of what's the university handling this like?
Honestly, I don't think there's anything going on behind the scenes because I'm sure Gene Taylor's talked to him a little bit, and maybe they've fleshed out this plan to move forward. I don't know. Gene's not that kind of hands-on guy. He intervenes when it needs to be done, and I think the entire K-State world that is plugged in knows that nothing can be done contractually right now. But the fans are voting. And the students are out, so that impacted the crowd quite significantly. I mean, it's not like there's a giant metro area that can fill in those areas for a weeknight game. So those weeknight games during holiday breaks are always less attended, but filled in pretty well by locals taking advantage of ticket plans that they put out there, so people can bring their kids to a game. Fearing being accused of child abuse, I don't think many people brought their kids to the game. Nobody wants to lose their children because they expose them to Kansas State basketball. That would be hard to explain. But no, I think a lot of people that would normally go just decided it's cold out. I'm not going. And those deterrents don't work when you're winning. They'll climb a mountain to get to you if they've got a seat in a winning arena.
Fitz, before we let you go, let's talk some football. Let's brighten this up a little bit here. Tell us about, look, I've said it a million times, not qualified to follow the transfer portal, don't have the energy, don't really, quite frankly, know how to do it very well. I can go to the sites and see that K-State's kind of down there. Are they happy with what they've done? Did they need to do as much in the portal as some of these teams higher on the list?
No, they, I like K-State football's approach to the portal for where K-State is in the hierarchy of college football. They turn their NIL inwards. They keep players like Jace Brown, who is being courted by other programs, who was seriously considering leaving. Of course, we don't know what the offer was, but he's still at K-State. So they keep their core pieces as best they can. They've really never suffered the outgo from the portal that other programs have. They've never had mass exodus of key players. That just hasn't happened. And when that happens, you have to go find answers in the portal. So K-State's able to use the portal very selectively. Some guys are of more urgent need, and a lot of this is just filling in the roster. They got 3 receivers to all come compete in the receiver room, but they're not throwing. I don't know what the price for a receiver is because I'm so overshadowed by basketball prices that are just ridiculous. But they're not paying $250,000 to a receiver that I know of that have come in. They're just not going to do that. They're doing the exact opposite of basketball. They're not. They're trying to preserve their locker room as best they can by keeping kind of a sensible hierarchy to who's getting paid and why. You got to earn it at K-State unless you really are someone they want to bring in and they can see you can help them immediately. They approach the portal differently. They're never going to be highly ranked, but boy, they're going to fill in all their spots that they need help with while retaining guys like Dylan Edwards, Avery Johnson, Jace Brown just on offense. Austin Romaine and so many others on defense. All players I know others would like to poach, and they haven't been able to.
Real quick, Fitz, before we let you go, let's go back to basketball really quick. Sunflower Showdown. The first Sunflower Showdown of the season in Lawrence this weekend. Kansas, they're not world beaters, and there, I think, is a fairly clear formula on how to attack a team like the Jayhawks. It's just a matter of whether or not Kansas State has the firepower and the personnel to make it difficult on the Jayhawks and really taking away Hunter Dickinson, trying to find ways, to do that. And Kansas can't score at a high clip right now either. So I think this could be a closer game than maybe what people might initially think. Do you think the Wildcats have the recipe to at least be able to, find a way to get into what Kansas wants to do best?
They have the recipe. I'm not sure they'll do it. They've not played Hunter Dickinson. They have not played Coleman Hawkins on the interior like he did at Illinois. He's never lost to Hunter Dickinson because he was the guy covering him in the post most of the time.
Yeah.
And that kind of athleticism and ability to drag him away from the basket on the other end gives him problems. I think part of why Coleman came to Kansas State is to be on the perimeter and not play the post. We'll see what they do. The formula's there. He has given him troubles throughout his career, but I don't know if they'll do it, probably because of promises made in the recruiting process. But at the end of the day, I don't think this team has the spirit or I don't want to say heart, but probably the collective oomph to beat a team like Kansas. When you're struggling to beat Oklahoma State, guys, I don't see you beating Kansas. I think that thing will be extremely ugly. I think it'll be a get-right game for KU, and they're going to get right by about 20 points over K-State.
Yeah, pissed off Kansas in Lawrence.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a problem. All right, Fitz, you guys will have that game all covered. You've got the recruiting trail all covered, both hoops and, of course, football right now at Go Power Cat. Plenty for us there.
Yep, absolutely. We're trying something new with our podcasts too. We used to do like 1 hour long one a week. We do a lot of podcasts, but our main podcast was one a week. We decided to do about 320s a week because I am like the rest of you. I don't have the attention span of an hour. In fact, I don't have about 5 minutes, and dude wants to go outside, so I got to go.
Yeah, we lack attention spans. Fitz, that's all right. It's all right. Daphne's the boss.
Daphne laid down.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Dude wants to go outside to drink the cold water.
Oh, okay. Well, Fitz, you go lay down. All right. It's go take a nap.
So early. Why are you doing this in the middle of the night now?
I know. It's I get it. We're all there. You should see TJ stroll in the morning this week.
Awake.
It's been there you go. There you go. All right, Fitz, we appreciate it. We're up against it. GoPowerCat.com or K-State Insider. Interesting. Big takeaway for me there is they can't afford to buy out Jerome Tang. And I believe it. I think we're going to see a little more of that, which is an interesting development in college sports as it pertains to some of the things that we follow. We'll soak in on that. We'll have more Sports Daily for you coming right back.
"66 counties,